welcome to today's video. I'm in my car because I have not been in a quiet environment any time recently to be able to record. And so I just wanted to share with you guys, I'm learning at a rapid pace, taking a bunch of courses on creative writing, and I'm really just learning as I go and trying to help other people learn as I go, if it's helpful. So that's what this channel really is all about, is just bringing a simplicity to the mass amounts of things that I'm learning and that you might be interested in if you're trying to get into the indie author space. Here's what I learned today. Today is about, okay, you know that you have a love for writing, you just really don't know where to start with the story planning process. And so I have 6 questions that I learned from somebody else, so I'm not taking credit. 6 questions that can kind of help you feel like you have enough grasp on your story so you can get started and just start flowing, start writing. So question 1 is going to be, whose story are you telling? Get to know your characters, develop their personalities, develop their motivations, develop their traumas, their history. And that can be 2 people, it can be 1 person, but whose story are you telling? And then question 2 sounds silly, but it's, what is the story? What journey are you taking your characters on? What is the conflict? What is the beginning, the arc, the ending, right? What is the story? What is the journey that you're taking your characters on? An important thing to note is that some authors really like a lot of structure. They like a ton of details planned out before they can start writing freely. The kind of author that I am, I need an overarching theme. I need to know where the story is going, but I also like a lot of wiggle room, so that I can let the characters lead me a little bit. That's just the way my brain works. There are tons of ways that this works for different authors, so you just need to figure out how much detail you need before you can start writing. Just having that at least solidified, what is the story, will help you regardless of how much or how little details you like to include. Question 3 is, why are you telling the story? I think this is one of the most important questions for you to answer beforehand, because it really drives everything. Why? What are people going to walk away with when they read your book? And this is just as important for fiction authors as it is for nonfiction authors, because people continue to read a book or they follow you as an author because they are getting something from you. You are tapping into the human experience in a way that is compelling, that is giving them hope or life or whatever, or just knowing that they're not alone in the traumas that they've been through and that someone has worked through their trauma. And yes, you wrap it up in the bow of a happily ever after as a romance author, but it's still validating the human experience, and it's taking people on a journey that is really what they're leaning into, you know? So why you're telling the story is really important. Number 4 is when, and you can do 4 and 5 kind of together, but when does your story take place and where does it take place? This is like where, for me, most of my details, my research happens. So super important to learn as many details as you can to bring people into that world. I personally choose mostly to write in my current day and age because it would take another level of research and time to develop a story like that. I love those stories, so I read them and am super open to writing them in the future when I feel like I have that chunk of time to develop that well. But it really does matter if you're choosing a different time frame, then you really got to make sure that you go back and fact check and know that they weren't saying this kind of language and they weren't watching these kind of TV shows, and all of your vernacular just has to change. And also same thing with where your setting is question number 5, you know, where does the story take place? You want to make sure that you're diving into the research in a way that is really believable and bringing people again into that world. Number 6 is, how are you telling the story? First person, third person, dual point of view, present tense, past tense, all of that. really comes into play. How are you telling the story? Real quick recap is question 1, whose story are you telling? Question 2, what is the story? Question 3, why are you telling the story? You got 4 and 5, which is when does the story take place and where does the story take place? And then question 6, how are you telling the story? So that's my TED Talk for the day. I would love to hear your comments on the things that you are asking questions about that you would like to know the answers to. And if I can serve in that way, then I would love to figure it out for you. But yeah, drop your comments and your thoughts in the comments below. And then also, if you like this video, you know what to do. Hit subscribe. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you soon.